guys. Welcome to a new episode of Dummy Football Podcast. Joined here by Jordan and Pedro. Jordan, how you doing today?
I'm doing good.
How was the holidays?
Well, we were at your house, dude. Why are you asking me?
I know you were gonna say that.
Oh, you gotta say like, hey, yeah, it was fun. I had a lot of fun.
It was fun. I mostly
You were there. I
spent
was
it
there.
sleeping.
Everybody was there.
Pedro, how you doing today?
Good. I enjoyed the holidays. It was fun not being at my place and not having to. And it was spacious enough. You have a big. I mean, it's not an apartment.
Yeah, yeah.
So it
No,
was
no,
more
it
spacious.
was fun. It was nice for us to all be together for
Yeah.
the holidays and stuff. So yeah, the first match week of the Premier League has finished. Match week 18th since the World Cup. We'll be talking about all the big games that happened. Going into a little bit preview about the Liga games that are coming up. Tomorrow is the first couple of games back, and then we'll be talking about some transfer news. I'll go ahead and start with I'll go ahead and start with the first game that happened, and it was the Arsenal versus West Ham game. Um, it was a 2-0 one, right? No, 2-1, 2-1, right? 3-1.
3-1.
Yeah, 3-1, 3-1, 3-1. Yeah, 3-1 win to Arsenal. Um,
So the Arsenal.
West Ham were leading in the first half, and then Arsenal came back from behind and were able to get the win. Um, it was one of those games where I thought like Arsenal were gonna fall back into the old ways, but they found the will to be able to come back and actually get the win at their stadium. So it was nice to see them go get be able to do that, and shows a maturity and progression of this Arteta side that's be able to come back and get the win like that in their hometown, in their home stadium. I mean, Jordan, I'll go to you first.
Oh, well. You love to see your team win, especially coming back. Arteta said it. The team was ready to come back from World Cup break. In the first half, they gave up a penalty, which I looked at it. I think it shouldn't have been a penalty. Bowen takes two extra steps and then proceeds to fall down. So I think it shouldn't have been a penalty first. But Ben Rahma scores an amazing penalty.
Yeah,
And then you go into the second half, and people are like, "Oh, doubting the Arsenal." But I feel like this was a great game for Arsenal. You gotta get used to winning ugly. You gotta get those wins,
yeah,
no matter how you get them, because it shows the resilience of the team. Martinelli opened up the scoring for us at the 52, I think, and then the 57, Saka scores,
hmm
or maybe it's the other way around. I don't remember.
hmm
It's been like a while since the game. But then Inqueta scoring in the 60 and the 63 with an amazing, just botting the defender behind him and spinning away and just putting it on the bottom corner was just an amazing goal, especially for a youngster like him. He's actually scored in 11 of the 10 games at home.
wow,
And obviously, Arsenal are going to win when Arsene Wenger's there watching the game. But yeah, just good to see Arsenal are still in their form.
yeah. Um, do you have any worries at all at Nketiah being the main striker for you guys?
No, because we get goals from all over the field. That's People were saying that about Gabriel Jesus, and like he scored 6 goals for us, but everybody else has been contributing as well. So like I don't see it as a problem.
Junior, any thoughts of this game?
Um, just that they looked the same way and when they left off. I didn't see like a drop off or like and sometimes when they come like especially for long periods like this, you can see like some players not being fit or not being in rhythm, and it didn't really show with Arsenal. Like it seems like it's just another weekend. where it was like one of those like international breaks,
Yeah,
but there was like just like 2 weeks, and then they're back, and then they're back in it. So that's kind of good to see as a team that's challenging for the title. They look good. I still think they'll win it. I don't see the other teams kind of like it now. It's all in Arsenal's hands to lose it, like
yeah,
the typical, like how Liverpool lost it. That was on Liverpool, but I
yeah,
think they just like gambled, and it's this is a very Klopp thing. He gambles in his starting 11, and then he has those other 3 4 players that he usually subs in, and then when that's literally it, like he has no more options. So I feel like if he like Arsenal will have I think that could be their downfall.
mm,
How limited their what's it called their squad is, but um, other than that, it's up to them really to lose it.
yeah.
That's the only thing.
Especially when you're excuse me, especially when you're fighting on in three, four competition at the same time. It gets difficult to manage your squad, especially if you're very limited. But yeah, they look very good. Their next game is going to be against Brighton. Brighton that's been kind of on the up with the Serbi as their manager, um, playing really good, really well football. And Jordan, do you see any problems against this Brighton team?
Who's the coach?
The Serbi. He used to manage Sassuolo and then Shakhtar, and then he left, and he's now at Brighton.
Well, yeah, you could always see a problem when you're facing a team under you. You don't want to get surprised. So I just hope Arsenal go into it expecting a battle.
Any score predictions for the next game?
I don't know. Probably like 3-1, I guess.
Okay, Junior. Any how you see Arsenal going up against Brighton? Score predictions?
The same. I feel like I don't like that's the question mark I have is that defense. It's a little bit young in the sense that there's no like veteran type of player that they have in the defense.
Mm-hmm.
That kind of like he kind of like slows it down, like a Thiago Silva, even though like
Mm-hmm.
everybody's prone to mistakes, but they don't have like a that
Like a kind
like
of
older player.
like a Meter Sacker or Koscielny in that defense.
Yeah, somebody that's already been through it.
Yeah,
So I feel like that's why they letting goals in
yeah,
because that this it was a penalty, but I think last game it was like something similar. It was like a mistake that they had done in the defense. So it's like little things like that, like little
yeah.
mishaps of like concentration, and that's when the other team gets a goal. But they still managed to get more goals in than the opposition
Mm-hmm.
so far.
Yeah.
So that's kind of good to see for them. I mean, not for me, but for
For Arsenal fans.
yeah, yeah, it's good if they get a title.
And then obviously the next game was the Manchester United versus Nottingham Forest game. Um, three 3-0. Manchester United were able to win. Um, Kind of became a little scrappy towards the end, but those 2 second goals helped them seal the victory, and it was quite over already. There's Nottingham Forest that seems kind of weak and has been lackluster this season. I know last year they impressed in the Champions League, but haven't been able to replicate some of the form that they were able to they able to get to. Um, with Manchester United, that's been going from worse to better under Ten Hag. You can see a little bit of what he's been helping these players develop, and just a 3-0 victory. Junior, what do you think about this game?
I feel like now that he has like a core younger players that he's able to like indicate what he wants. It's easier to tell a player that's younger what you expect of them than an older player. And I'm obviously talking about a Cristiano that he's no longer in this team. Even though he was a great asset, I just think that it's easier for him to mold when you don't have that veteran player being kind of a little bit defiant with him or questioning his methods.
Hmm.
Because you can take Hog this and that, but you can't dismiss what Cristiano has done in his career, all the titles he won. He's obviously a champion, and then Ten Hag hasn't really proved it on. I mean, the Dutch league is you know there's
Yeah,
only there's only two teams that are gonna win it most of the years, so it's kind of he hasn't really proved himself. I mean, he proved himself in the Champions League and how far, but Champions League is a tournament. Anything could happen. Other teams, you could say, were weaker. They didn't have their, you know, they weren't doing this or that. So it's kind of like it's still up in the air with Ten Hag and see what he can do with this team.
yeah.
See where how far it could go.
Jordan, your thoughts on this game?
Uh, okay, my mic. I like the first goal for Rashford from a set piece. An amazing set piece where everybody shifted back or going forward, and then Casemiro went forward. The defender went on him, and then Casemiro goes back, and Rashford just keeps on doing that run. So the player reacts late, and he just slots it into the top. And I was like, what an amazing set piece that was. The second goal, Rashford teaming up with Marshall, kind of like an old school, like how they used to play under Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. Just a pass between them, and then the goalie can't handle it. Wayne Hennessy struggling with it. And then Casemiro assisting Fred, the two Brazilian center mids.
Hmm.
Just amazing goal. But yeah, just none and Forest aren't in it. Weren't in it at all. I didn't see them like really be a threat. Only on that offside goal by Ryan Yates, that is teammate touched and caused offside.
Hmm.
But they have a lot of players that came in for the Nottingham Forest team. They don't have the same core group as before, so I think that it's taking them a while to all get on the same page. But they do have good players. When I see the lineup of them, I see Ryan Yates. I see the one Oyi, the Nigerian player who used to play for Berlin, Union Berlin.
Yeah,
I
when
just, I
you.
just Yeah, I just see they have good pieces. I just think that they need to mesh better. But you just expect Manchester United to win those type of games, especially against a team that just ascended. So you expect them to win comfortably, but they did kind of struggle a little bit, but not to the extent of them losing maybe to get a tie early, but just dominant for Manchester United.
And I'll go first to you, Jordan, and then I'll go back to Junior. Do you think that Manchester United will be able to get top four?
Well, it's hard because Spurs and there's Manchester City, Spurs, Chelsea, and Manchester United. So and Arsenal already in the first. So that I think they'll just be out of probably in the Europa League. I'm gonna say.
Okay.
Well, I'll give you the table. The table is Arsenal in first place with 40, and they have 15 games. Manchester City with 35 points and 15 games. Newcastle at 33 and 16 games. Tottenham at fourth with 30 points and 16 games. Manchester United with 29 points and 15 games. Liverpool at sixth with 25 and 15 games. Brighton with 24 and 15 games. Chelsea with 24 points and 15 games. That's the top eight.
Yeah.
Yeah, I see them. If the best I think they could do is probably get to fifth or sixth, but I don't know.
Yeah.
That Newcastle team is really good.
Yeah. Yeah. It depends on honestly of what they do and don't do this January transfer window. How well they recruit and strengthen this squad. Um, been linked to a potential loan deal for João Felix, but we'll see how that goes. Um, their next game is against Wolves. Julia Lopetegui. Wolves that won 3-0 were able to win that 3-0 comfortably. Um, What you guys think for the Manchester United versus Wolves game coming up?
I feel like I think Manchester United are going to get out with the win. I think this Wolves side is still a bit shaky. They're very inconsistent. When it sums up Lopetegui, how he is as a manager. He's very up and down. Sometimes he'll have like really good games, and then sometimes he has terrible games.
Yeah.
So I feel
What,
like it'll be a Manchester United win,
Jordan,
even if it's a scrappy win like this one again.
Jordan, your thoughts?
I could see a 2-2 draw. I really like this Wolves team, especially with Lopetegui as a coach and the players that they have. They have so many quality players.
Yeah.
But I could see a 2-2.
Yeah. All right, on to their next game. Chelsea versus Bournemouth. 2-0 victory for Chelsea. Um, really didn't cause any problems. Bournemouth, comfortable win. Um, I'll go with you first, Junior. Since Chelsea, and just talk a little bit about the game and what you saw.
I saw a better Chelsea with an idea, but it's still like to me they still need a striker. Like Havertz is not the striker. Like they need someone who's gonna be inside the box constantly and asking for the ball. Like it's still like they'll get in there, but like they had like even like four more opportunities that they didn't score. So like if you have at least a striker, I feel like this like it would have been a bigger score, maybe a 4-0.
Mm-hmm.
Oh,
So it just tells you how good a Chelsea could be, and I mean, and it's also the opposition. It wasn't like a very challenging opposition either. Kind of like we're letting Chelsea do what they wanted
Right.
most of the time.
Right.
So I feel like if they get in a striker, which I mean, in January they're gonna get the Fofana guy. I really don't know much about him, but that'd be interesting to get another, especially if it looks like Graham Potter wanted him.
Mm-hmm.
That's always better when a coach is actually given his input in the transfers that he's getting.
Right.
Because once you bring in a Lukaku, and then you're like, well, gotta use him, I guess. And you're not your plan is not based around Lukaku at all. And then you put him in, and then he, you know,
Yeah.
kind of gives you like a
La
different.
Caca.
So that'd be interesting to see what a Chelsea with something that Graham Potter wants, and they're going for Enzo Fernandez too, which will be interesting if that
Oh,
happens. That was
Yeah.
unexpected. It would be unexpected to me, really.
Yeah. Yeah. Jordan, your thoughts on the Chelsea win?
But okay.
well, what Junior said, a very dominant win by Chelsea. They had a lot of chances to score. I like that they play a 4-2-3-1, which I know is Junior's favorite formation, with a cam allowing having a number 10. I like Mason Mount playing there, but I feel like Havertz could also play there. I think Havertz playing as a striker, it's kind of uncomfortable, but he had more chances this game, and I feel like he's getting used to it. So I kind of like him there. I don't think you should switch him out. If you have a chance to buy a striker, then maybe switch him out if you buy someone now. But I feel just leave him there because he's a wonderful player, especially like when he's on the ball because he could I don't know where he could be a goal threat, but then an immediate uh, threat on the assist on playing those through balls to the side to Reece James, to Pulisic, to Mason Mount. I also like Pulisic starting. I think Pulisic should be getting the start because he's a very good player. No bias. It's not like I'm American or something, but he's really
But,
good.
but what
He
I
had
saw
a he had a
sorry, I interrupted, is that he actually paid him on the left. That's like one of the few times that they actually pay him where Pulisic likes playing, and the fact that he moved Raheem Sterling to the right tells you a lot of what the coach thinks of Pulisic.
Yeah.
Because usually, like it's the English guys get first dibs on whatever position they like playing, and the fact that they move Raheem Sterling to the right is very telling to me.
Yeah. And a position that
But
Sterling has played in the city before, so not a position he's uncomfortable playing.
Mm. But he works best
yeah,
as
and
a left, you know. So that's why.
yeah, Raheem Sterling's a righty, right?
Yeah,
Yeah, so I think I could set him up for a crossing eventually, even probably cutting in because I know wingers usually have a good weak foot. But I like Pulisic playing on the right. He almost got a penalty on Adam Smith, but you could just tell Pulisic was looking for that penalty because it just a little grab of the shirt and Pulisic was like. So you're like, you love to see a player trying to get some an advantage. But yeah, just a very good win. Mason Mount played good. Havertz played good. Reece James had a shot on target. They play way better than before because before they were already questioning Graham Potter, being like, "What is going on with this guy? You
yeah,
lose against Brighton. That's like that's a big deal." But they might come into form. Maybe this break was the best thing that could happen for them.
yeah. Yeah, I just think he just needed a little bit more time to actually work his ideas and work with the team he had. But, obviously this break would have helped. And hopefully he can get this Chelsea team up and running and playing what he wants, his style of football. Their next game is going to be against Nottingham Forest. Do you see any problems against Nottingham?
No, I feel like this is the game that they kind of need to get as much goals as they can. I feel like goal difference is going to be important. It's always important, I, to get that advantage to be higher up. Because I think right now, let me see they're at 2 goal difference. So it's like they're not making a lot of goals and they're letting a lot of goals in. So
Yeah,
the fact that they kept a zero is very good, especially with the. I feel like this is going to be the formation in the back line with the starting four. So hopefully they keep
Oh, and
up.
Kepa
But
played pretty good too.
yeah, he looked in form again.
all right.
But that's gonna be Mendy, right?
Huh?
That's gonna be Mendy.
Is it gonna be Mendy?
I don't know.
Yeah,
I
is he
feel
gonna
like
be back starting?
No, I feel like
Potter at the moment prefers Kepa than Mendy.
yeah, I feel like Mendy has had like a little bit of stumble. I feel like I don't know if yeah, you don't know. Like he's been having bad games. I feel like his confidence is a little bit down.
Hmm.
But yeah, it wasn't the Mendy of the Champions League that kind of got us the title.
Yeah,
I feel like this is a different Mendy.
yeah,
But I hope that he goes back to that form because that was a really good Mendy. I feel like especially because he likes playing with the ball and their
yeah.
feet. That I don't feel like Mendy's really comfortable doing that,
Hmm.
and I feel like Kepa's a little bit more comfortable doing that since he is Spanish.
Yeah,
That's what they teach in Spain. So I think that's the reason why he's playing him.
yeah. All right. On to the Spurs versus Aston Villa game. I mean, Spurs versus Brentford game. Spurs being able to come up from behind and draw 2-2. Um, well, we've been seeing a lot from Spurs being like coming back from and getting a result from games, which is, I know it's a little worrying because you can't keep this up throughout the whole season. Um, and a little, I don't know. I feel like this Antonio Conte team has lost a little bit of its uniqueness and specialness that the teams are finding them out real quick. And I don't know. I just don't and I don't see this Antonio Conte Spurs relationship ending well. Um, what do you think, Jordan?
Well, the first goal they gave up on a set piece from Eric Dyer mistake.
Mm-hmm.
So you they maybe have to be better at set pieces because no one really covered the Brentford player that scored. It was for a header from the front post to the back post, and he just slotted it in, and no one covered the first guy or the second guy. So you have to think that there was a bit of confusion there, especially from the mistake of Eric Dyer. Maybe they were a bit of discombobulated. But yeah, and then the second goal, they got it. Who was it? It wasn't Bembo, wasn't it? Or it was Ivatoni?
I think it was Tony.
Yeah, but Tony.
Yeah,
Yeah, you just can't let Tony score, dude, because he should be the guy that you guard the most because he's their number one threat. But Spurs did have a couple of chances. I feel like they could have won this game, especially because David Raya, I don't really like as a goalie because he is only 6 foot tall. And if you see on the both goals, he wasn't even close to them. Like if for the header from Kane to the other post, he was like miles away from the ball, like this far from the ball. And then for Hoiberg's goal, where he was inside the box, just the defenders covering all defenders covering one guy, left him open on the outside, and he just shot it. He was this far from it. So you got to think like that. I think that's going to cost them in the long run having a short goalkeeper, which isn't that short because we've seen shorter goalkeepers, but he doesn't have the same jumping as like a Jorge Campos, for example. Like he doesn't have that quick of a jump to get off it. So I think that kind of cost Brentford the win because they were playing pretty decent against them. They were covering everything. They were making Harry Kane uncomfortable. Human Son was never really in the game. So like I think they had a pretty good game, and I think Spurs should be happy with the 2-2 because they should have lost.
Yeah, but it's like a typical Conte side. Like it's not a Conte game without any drama. Like there's always got to be some type of drama in a game. I swear, like this is the reason why he was loved and hated at Chelsea, because like he would, win games that were kind of like not a lot of people give us a shot, and then like he would lose games with like teams that were not, up to the standard by
yeah,
little mistakes. So it's typical Conte to me.
yeah. Their next game is gonna be against Aston Villa. Unai Emery's side, now the manager. Seeing good things from them recently. Um, what do you guys think of this game?
That's gonna be a tricky game for Spurs, but also at the same time, this Aston Villa, I don't think it's that good squad wise. So I think that's gonna be their downfall, or that's how it's gonna turn out. I feel like it's just gonna the Tottenham has a little bit better players, so it's gonna be a tough match for both teams.
Yeah, Jordan, your thoughts about the game?
Aston Villa lost against Liverpool 3-1, right?
Yes.
Yeah, and I think the other thing we should talk about Spurs, they didn't have Lloris, they didn't have Christian Romero, they didn't have like their pieces because they're still at their break.
Mm.
So maybe that's what caused them to get that draw. But yeah, I could see Aston Villa play a close match. They have good pieces all around. Like I could see probably a 2-1 to the Spurs, like that. But I could also see a draw.
Yeah, yeah. I can see this. This kind of a game where Spurs will be looking forward to just because Unai Emery likes to play a very attacking, open football, so it'll be open for the counter attack, to attack the spaces in behind. So I think it'll be a game that they could see their plan work, but I don't know that it's gonna be a tough game for both sides, especially. All right, the last game for the Premier League match week 18 was the Leeds versus Manchester City game. Excuse me. uh, 3-1. Manchester City won. Um, two goals from Erling Haaland, a goal from Rodri. Um,
It was 3-1. I thought it was 3-0.
no, it was 3-1.
Yeah, yeah,
Who
I get
scored
on
on you
with it.
guys?
Yeah, I think it was Somerville. I think he came on and scored.
Oh, it was the Netherlands guy, right? The guy with
Yeah,
long hair and a mustache. Yeah, I know. Yeah, it was 3-1.
yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah. Uh, City kind of their old ways, always a possession and plenty of chances. Erling Haaland had a couple of them that he could have scored, but wasn't able to get full contact with the ball and finish those off. Um, a lot better from Grealish. I thought not to the level that we expect him to be, but better, more involved in the attack. He had 2 assists in the game, so a lot better, more involved in the attack, which you'd like to see. Um, and just excuse me. Aside from that goal, they're really good defensively with Akanji and Stones and Ake and the defense as well as the youngster Rico Lewis, which has been impressing Guardiola a lot. So hopefully he takes these chances well. Has been playing really well. Played against Liverpool in the Carabao Cup and impressed a lot. So honestly, just really good. Um, once all everybody comes back, I'd like to see what kind of level they were, because we know these city sides have like 2, 3 levels to go when they actually play to their potential. So we'll see what they able to go. Hey, they're not back to back champions for nothing. I'll go
Yeah, they
with
have all the money in the world.
I'll go with you first, Junior. What's your thoughts on the game?
Yeah, yeah, they always win, whatever. They always score a lot of goals, whatever. I feel yeah, it's gonna be the same. It's gonna be cities to like not get points. I feel like sometimes they like it's kind of it's in theory it's easy to like go at these games a certain way and then kind of get something from them. But when now you have a like a Haaland, it's a little bit different.
Yeah,
It's a guy that could do it on himself. Like he'll get a ball right there and then try to get something out of it.
right.
So this I think this Manchester City is a little bit different than the old Manchester Cities.
Yeah,
But it's a tip. Any game I watch Manchester City play anybody, I feel like Manchester City is like the clear favorite. Just the way they play, their players. And then you look at the bench, and then they just have players to like could do something, or they can do something. Most of the time, like sometimes they don't, but they always like it's just in paper. It's like I'm playing FIFA. Honestly, it's just like they have who? Oh the fuck, I guess. It's just kind of like insane type of roster that they have.
yeah. Hey, Jordan, your thoughts on the game?
Yeah, just obviously, like Junior says, they got the goals, but I kind of felt like they kind of didn't play as well as they should have, especially against first-time head coach in the Premier League. I feel like they could have probably won it by more, but they kind of were sloppy at the start. Haaland was kind of messing up. Grealish messed up in a play, and then they just started rolling after that. Those mistakes, I think, it kind of were like, oh shit, we need to actually play Leeds better. And they scored the 3 goals. I like Gundogan being captain. That was pretty cool to see him with that captain armband. What was the other thing I was gonna say? Wow, oh, man, what was that? Oh, when Junior was talking about it's Arsenal's to lose, I feel like it's only Arsenal's to lose if Manchester City don't do their job. I feel like they're probably the only threat to Arsenal winning the title, especially because they're in second place. So I think it's honestly it's up to them if Arsenal win or not. They have to do their job, especially being back-to-back champions or whatever.
Yeah. One last thing that I was gonna add, and then you can say something, Junior, if you wanted to say something. Um, yeah. We've seen it from the city sides where they go on a 13-12 game run where they're just winning, 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 and that's how they close the gap on people. And you just expect if Arsenal can do the same, you know, which is gonna be that's gonna be the fun part about this race, to see these two teams go neck to neck all the way to the end. Junior, what you wanted to say?
I was just gonna say it's like especially because like this leads lets the other team play, so they're not very like they don't close down like
Yeah,
they just shut down like oh let's get this 0-0 or like oh let's just get a draw like and then let's see if we can make something out of it. There's the leads that'll let you play like Bielsa's leads as well. I mean, but that Bielsa leads like will
Yeah,
let
that was more
run
open.
over, get run over for the idea of the game, and that was kind of crazy. That's why they call him Loco Bielsa.
Yeah.
But yeah, just it's good to have teams that'll let you play, but at the same time, it's like, all right, like, come on, don't let them win.
Jordan, you want to say anything else?
Oh yeah. Damn it, dude! I forget. What was I gonna say?
I don't know.
Man, what the hell?
I'm gonna move on, and
How
then
did I forget?
if you remember, then just bring it up. The next game is gonna be
Right.
against Everton, uh, an Everton side that lately they can be our oddball and cause us a lot of trouble in the past. Very good defensively and very good on the counterattack. This Everton side against Frank under Frank Lampard. So, Junior, what do you think about this game?
Yeah, but it's still Frank Lampard. I feel like he still has a lot to learn. We saw that at Chelsea. Well, I saw that at Chelsea. It's just those little things that you still need as a coach to experience, and I feel like it's he still hasn't experienced them. I feel like a more experienced manager like Guardiola, and you saw that when Frank Lampard faced the Liverpools, the Manchester Cities, whatever you call it, like they were just not up to par to the other managers because they just knew more than him. And another side that'll let you play in a sense, like Frank Lampard has an idea of like letting the other team play as well, like not kind of giving in to the team's way of playing, and then him like counterattacking the way of they play, like they're gonna play their way, and then So I feel like it's gonna be a comfortable win for Manchester City.
Jordan,
Unfortunately,
Jordan, what do you wanted to say?
you remember
Um, yeah, I want to say that Everton. Who did they play this match? This match week, who did they play?
they played Wolves. They lost against Wolves.
Mhm.
Oh yeah, that's the game because they played pretty. They were kind of in it.
Wolves is
The
18.
2-0. Yeah, but 2-0, like it doesn't really show the whole story because they were
Two
kind
one.
of in
They
it
lost two
on
2-1.
one.
some.
2-1.
Yeah, because they were giving some chances. They have a good set of the midfield's pretty good. The defense was kind of the part that made the mistakes mostly, but I feel like he could get that team to do what he wants. I just feel like it's gonna take some growing pains. Obviously, I could see them giving Manchester City trouble because these are the kind of trap games. Like you going against a bad team and you're like, oh, we'll just lay back, and those are the kind of teams that could trap you in a sense. Like you're not doing it like on purpose, like laying back, but like you like mentally, you're not fully in there because you're like, oh, we're gonna win.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, I know what you mean. Yeah.
But before the thing I forgot was gonna say that
Well, try to get
Manchester
ahead.
City got scored on. Manchester City was scored on the set piece, and I think I seen 4 set piece goals from what I watched on the highlights. So I think they need managers need to get that set piece thing figured out because sometimes they're not covered at all, or sometimes the player gets dropped. Like even in the Everton game, Yerimina got it from a set piece. So like you got to start thinking like, what are we gonna do? The Wolves actually scored on Everton with the set piece too. They like passed it on the top. They crossed it to Jamotinho, and Jamotinho played it into Podence, who kicked the corner. And but it just I think managers need to focus on the set pieces because that could cost you a point,
Yeah.
especially when your defense doesn't get on the player.
Yeah. 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 You absolutely right. I think so far I think like there was a statistic about like so far like it's been the most goals let in by a set piece or something like that. So it's a little worrying for the managers and the teams especially. I'm moving on to the start of La Liga. Obviously tomorrow is the
We
first.
didn't talk about Liverpool.
We did talk about Liverpool.
No, we didn't. We started with Arsenal, Manchester United, Chelsea, Spurs, and Manchester City.
Yeah, the Liverpool was the first one.
No, it was Arsenal.
It was we talked about Arsenal. I think you just
Oh shit.
you got it confused and you said Aston Villa. Because
Oh
now that
shit.
I'm
My
thinking
bad.
back, yeah, I think you did say Aston Villa instead of West Ham.
Oh yeah, the Liverpool versus Aston Villa game. Um, pretty. What's it called? You know,
Yeah, we don't care about Liverpool.
kind
Let's
of
go.
like a throwback performance from
Big
Liverpool.
one. Big whoop.
And yeah, I was gonna say pretty much back to normal. Again to see them back doing what they do best. Trent playing very well. Van Dijk, Mo Salah. You know, Darwin Nunez. You still expect more from him just because of how much they pay for him and what they got for him, and what he's shown lately. But a very how I said throwback performance from this Liverpool side. Um, Jordan, do you want to go? What would you seen from this game?
Salah playing again, wonderful. I think the break really helped him. He came back with a tan too, so I think he had a good time during the break. But
Oh, yeah.
they played pretty decent. They were kind of going through Salah, but then Salah was trying to get Darwin Nunes that goal. Van Dijk scores again from a set piece. So like you got to start wondering what's going on with these coaches. That do they even teach this anymore? But yeah, Darwin Nunes takes a shot and the shot deflects and goes to the youngster who scores his first senior goal, which was a big congrats to that player. But yeah, just like you said, Liverpool dominated. I could see Darwin Nunes. He's having a little bit more chances. I think he's gonna start getting running. I think he's gonna start now with his run of form because he was getting good shots. It's just, especially with the new signing that he's got, might help alleviate some pressure off of him.
Yeah, Junior, your thoughts?
Yeah, it's regular Liverpool to me again. Like, but I think it like yeah, Mo Salah is like fresh, so that's why I think he had one of the best games because he didn't go to the World Cup obviously. So I feel like it showed. I feel like it showed like on the players. Like if you watch some games, like the people that didn't go to the World Cup, like how good, like how like the same with Jorginho. I was surprised how good he's actually doing, or not good, but decent again. And I was
Yeah,
like, oh, good, you didn't go to the World Cup because you would have been fucking like not been this. I know that much. So yeah, that's all I noticed. It's the same. Like they'll score and then they'll score on them. I still think their defense is the weak point, especially
yeah,
because I think if anything, Robertson is their biggest um, um, asset in defense, and the rest are kind of a little bit of lacking in some sense. Van Dijk had a good World Cup, and you hope that he this passes over to this club side.
yeah. Up next is Leicester City. They'll be facing Leicester City next. Leicester City that lost to Newcastle. Newcastle side that are up there in the top four and are fighting for that position up there. And then Leicester City that's just been really not having their best season at all under Brendan Rodgers, kind of losing a little bit of their old momentum. Do you see any problems for this Liverpool side facing Leicester, Jordan?
No, they shouldn't have any problems with this Leicester side. They were really slacking against Newcastle. Almiron, Atlanta United player, former Atlanta United player. You can see why he was bought, and you can see why the general manager for transfers is the old Atlanta United a GM because he's very good at finding those talents and those prospects. So you can see why they got him, and just that team playing complete, dude. Like they might get into the Champions League. And it might be a hot take, but they might get into the Champions League. That's how good they played against Leicester,
Newcastle.
who
Newcastle.
they didn't have Madison.
Yeah. Yeah. No European football or anything like that, so they can just focus on the league as well. So I have really good players, so that'd be a team to look out for in the top four battle.
This engineer typing.
No, I was banging on my laptop. Bless you.
Thank you.
No, I was just looking at the defense. I was looking at
But now we'll move
Newcastle
on to La Liga.
because it's surprising that they didn't let any goals. I mean, they haven't for a while, and I was just looking. I was like, who they have in defense? And it's just
For
Well,
Newcastle.
they have Trippier
and
and they have Sven Botman,
yeah,
who's really good center back.
Dan Burn
and
as
they have
well.
Shar. They have Fabian Shar. I forgot Fabian Shar. He's there, really good player. And then they have Nick
Yeah,
Pope.
Switzerland player.
I think Nick Pope should have been starting.
Yeah, Nick.
I would have. I honestly,
Hot take.
if you tell me Nick Pope to Chelsea, I'd be like, nice. That's what I want. I want more
Oh yeah,
English,
he's
solid
tall,
English
tall
players. Nick
goalkeeper.
Pope, Declan Rice, Jude Bellingham, welcomed.
Kevin Trippier.
And Alan Saint
Yeah.
Maxim, one of their best players, didn't even start for them. He came on.
Who?
Alan Saint Maximin. They didn't even start for them. And still were able to win comfortably.
Yeah, Joelinton got a goal, which I'm happy to see Joelinton get a goal. A Brazilian striker, kind of. He kind of plays in the midfield sometimes.
Bruno Guimaraes.
So that was kind of good to see.
It's a really good player. I feel like he gets overlooked in that Brazil team,
Yeah.
but he's very important.
Yeah.
And you could see.
I think who Brazil was missing too was Fabinho. When we were talking about the Liverpool game, he did a lot of damage to them.
Yeah. Well, you can see that they're still fresh, so they're able to show a little bit more. We'll just wait to see if these World Cup stars are a little bit affected by the fatigue and how the managers choose to deal with it going forward. But
Now, Calvin, could you please tell me what are the upcoming La Liga games?
I sure will. The four big ones that I'm looking for that are coming up is Atletico versus Elche, Valladolid versus Real Madrid, Barcelona versus Espanyol, and Villarreal versus Valencia. So we're gonna start with Atletico first. Atletico team that been having their problems,
Average.
been having their problems this season. I think I just seen a quote from Cholo as well that he was doing
Yeah, I sent it.
some self criticism. Yeah, about that like he has four players in the final, and that just proves that like he has to do something to get the best out of them. So I think that was good to see. But yeah. So what do you expect for this Atletico Madrid for the rest of the season, Junior?
I just think that Atletico Madrid should not, or Atletico Madrid fans should not expect Atletico Madrid to be offensive or Cholo Simeone to be offensive, even though if they have Joe Felix and the likes of these players and these World Cup players that were in the final, it's just he's got to let him like play what he knows best, and and give him those type of players. Because if you give him these other players that don't fit with his style, I think he's not gonna perform. Even though they're in fifth place, and like fifth place doesn't seem bad, but like point wise, they're 13 points behind from the leaders, Barcelona. Gotta mention that. And so yeah, it's just you know, it's being fifth place as at Atletico Madrid, and then having Athletic Club and Real Sociedad not having that or that money that Atletico Madrid has been getting these past few seasons is embarrassing. Like for me, as if I'm getting this play, like you want to see some type of, at least I don't know, 5 points off the leaders.
Yeah.
Like you could say like, oh, I had injuries and this and that, but that hasn't happened to them. Like, oh, I had my whole roster. You still have Griezmann, and at the beginning of the season they weren't playing him the full minutes, and he was getting some results. So the fact that now they bought
Yeah,
him
how mad
and
are you about that?
not at all mad. I mean, I'm mad that we didn't get him for as much as we paid for him. That I am. But yeah, it's just I would like I would try to like shit if he did so good for France in the midfield. Shit, I'm gonna put him in the midfield, see what I could get out of him. You know that's what I would do, seeing what he performed in the. Give João Felix more space to be offensive and not having to track back as much because it hinders people. And then there was another comment about I can't remember who it was, but about how like the number 10 is kind of lost. I think it was James,
Hmm.
and I agree
Yeah.
with him. It's just some players are just gifted offensive wise, and they're not gonna give you that much defensively. Like even a Messi, like he's gonna track back and he's trying to fight with the ball, but he doesn't know how to defend. These players don't know how to defend. Defending is an art form, and I feel like people are just getting like anybody could defend. And you look at Grealish, you look at Haaland. You think these players know how to defend? I look at them and I'm like, they're just being risky with their tackles. They just don't know how to defend. They're just, if anything, they're just hindering themselves because they're gonna get injured themselves by not knowing how to tackle or by just putting in their foot. So I feel like it hinders these type of players that are offensive. Like there's some players that are offensive and defensive, and then you should take advantage of that. The Coques. Coques is a very good example of how, or Sergio Busquets, that they know how to defend and they know how to just leave it for those players. If they don't know how to defend, like what are you gonna do? Be like, hey, at least track back all the way as you can, and if you don't, it's good, but don't lose the ball. Like try to not lose the ball. Can you do that? Like expect that from them instead of being like, oh, can you defend all the way to over or an hour line? Like, come on now, guy. So
I'd
I feel
like to
like
remind you we're talking about Atletico Madrid, not about the number 10 position.
but I'm talking about Atletico Madrid and what can they do and what I expect from them. I feel like if anything that show the 4-4-2, I think it benefits other teams and shows them that they can actually be somewhat offensive and still kind of be pragmatic. I feel like it's going to be a reemergence of that 4-4-2 in a lot of places.
Do you
So
see
I
them
don't know.
getting
Did I answer
finishing?
you?
Do you see them finishing top four?
Yeah, because at the end of the day, the other teams are not as good in the Liga. They're gonna eventually gonna fall. You know, they're just. I mean, that's the only way that I can see them. But if the other teams like La Real Sociedad and just don't lose, because they're also, I think, yeah, they're letting as many goals as that they're letting as they're making. So
Yeah,
it's all on like what the other teams are doing and what they are doing. So they can't necessarily lose a lot
right.
and actually win games.
Jordan, your thoughts on what you expect from the rest of the season for Atletico?
Yeah, the coach criticizing himself, Simeone criticizing himself. It's you love to see a coach take notice of his mistakes because they are his mistakes at the end of the day. He's the one that comes up with the game plan. He's the one that subbed in Griezmann in the last 30 minutes. He's the one that puts in the lineup. He's the one that caused Joao Felix to want to leave. He's the one that caused Matias Cunha to leave to Wolves. Like it's at the end of the day, it's his philosophy of football. I don't think his philosophy of football would change, but I think he will try to implement some tactics here and there. But I think the basic thing is always going to be defending because I think it is a good way to play in La Liga. You do sneak out, get 1-1 draws, 2-2 draws. They do get those draws, so they get points that way. So I like Diego Simeone. I would have wanted him in Valencia because I just love defensive football. One of my favorite YouTube videos. This is a recommendation. It's called "The Art of Defending." It's just pure highlights of defending, and it shows you that thing Junior was talking about. That some players don't know how to defend, and this is like it's an art form of how to do it. But yeah, you expect them to win against Elche, but Elche do have some good pieces. They have Ezequiel Ponce, very good striker, Argentinian striker. Yeah, Mojica, who plays on the as a wing back. So they have pace down there, but hopefully they come in with a big win. I don't know if the players are going to be on break, the players that were at the World Cup. So we'll have to see with that.
Yeah. The next game is Valladolid versus Real Madrid. Some of the big names for their team from the World Cup will be back for this game, as it appears. Feels like everyone is ready to go for this game. I'll go start
What
with
big names?
well, Vinicius,
Karim Benzema.
Benzema, Modric,
Yeah, I'm
Even
just
he
joking.
was not even in the World Cup.
I was going to be
so
like, well,
many.
you guys have big names at the World Cup?
Jordan, what do you expect from this Real Madrid side for the rest of the season and against Valladolid?
I expect them to win against Valladolid. Comfortable, probably 3-0 win. I could see Real Madrid is the only true person force Barcelona to fail. I feel like they're in the same position as an Arsenal, Manchester City. It's up to Real Madrid to, if Barcelona wins, they need to get these 3 points out of every game. They can't afford to lose. They need Barcelona to lose. So I expect them to. They'll probably win the league. I know it's early to predict this because it's almost it's probably like at the half of the season, right?
A little
Mm.
bit less
So
right now.
yeah, a little bit less. So I could see them challenging for that trophy. But yeah, just an amazing striker, Benzema. Maybe being out of the World Cup could have helped them get more of fitness. And we've seen those quotes coming out of Deschamps, uh, Karim Benzema's agent, saying that he could have actually returned earlier, but Deschamps didn't want to play him. A bunch of rumors, so like I don't really put any uh, what do you say? Like I don't put any weight on that.
Hmm.
I do. I feel
But I just packed Benzema in FIFA Ultimate Team, so I want him to do good. So, but yeah, I just expect them to win. Yeah, because they are Real Madrid. They are one of the best clubs, and
Uh,
that's the only time I'm gonna say it.
Junior, what do you expect from this Real Madrid team for the rest of the season?
to
I know you
lose all
probably have
the
been like
best of
lose
games.
against everybody, drop points
Yeah,
here.
I, yeah, get scored on in every game, which is not. I mean, it's
Junior's like,
impossible.
Junior's like, I expect them to disband the team.
I expect Benzema to freaking pull a Matthew Valbuena and destroy this team. No, I feel like it does carry that where you were talking about those rumors. I feel like Benzema is a very polarizing figure in France and just in France, really. And it's I think they were talking about a long time ago an article about how why is Benzema not revered as the Henrys and the the Ribery's, and I think it has to do with a little bit of this. I feel like I don't know if there's jealousy from other teammates
Off
or
the field
something.
stuff, right?
Yeah, just
Like,
off, or just in general, like he's not revered in France. Like nobody like talks about Benzema being, like oh Benzema, he's coming to save us. Like remember in the World Cup, like nobody was even talking about Benzema. They even, you know what I mean? It's just a weird thing.
Yeah,
yeah, especially
He's
when in
he's seen as
he's
just
more of a club player, you know.
yeah, he's just seen as a Real Madrid legend. I don't feel like he'll ever be
Especially with the
as
suspension that
far as
cost him. I think that what you were saying of the people being like, "Oh, this is the next Henry, the next Zidane," or to them, I think that suspension cost him and his legacy in the long run.
yeah.
yeah.
Like I said,
But
he's
still, a
very
fantastic
polarizing.
player.
Yeah, but I mean, they wouldn't have won the World Cup with him. Hot take. That's it. And yeah, I feel
But
like
I did pack him in ultimate team. So
yeah, I feel like Valladolid will somehow score on Real Madrid. It's really weird. Like it's a common thing for Real Madrid. They have this defense that's probably the most expensive in club football, and they'll still let a goal in, which is wild. It's just their philosophy of like just scoring more than you. That's
Yeah.
been like a thing for Real Madrid for ages, and we always talk about like this defense is the best and this and that. And then you look at a Barcelona. I'm looking at the table right now, and the this Barcelona team, which is average, really average, they've only let in 5 goals. So, and this Real Madrid, they let in 14 goals. I mean, that's one per game. So I feel like they're gonna let it go. And
Yeah.
that's all I gotta say. Yeah, I think it's gonna go to the wire like it always does. It's always Real Madrid, Barcelona, down to the wire. See who makes more mistakes and who wins the clásicos. Typical stuff. But I
Yeah.
see Barcelona winning.
Yeah, it's gonna be a tight La Liga race, which it's always nice to see. I don't think. Well, I mean, I'll speak for me as a. It's always nice to see when the Real Madrid, Atletico Madrid, and Barcelona are always kind of tight, and it makes the Liga a little bit more exciting than.
Well, I'm more excited with and it's other teams like now at Real Sociedad and Athletic Club. And that makes it more exciting because it's always
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
same
Well, I
most.
was looking as well. Let me pull it up because I know there was a couple of names on there that I was like, wow, they're like really close for that for those Champions League spots like
Yeah,
Osasuna,
Betis.
Rayo, Betis, yeah, as well, and even Villarreal and Valencia are still on there. Even in Mallorca,
We're
that
talking about Willis.
down at 11th, they're still in the hunt for those European spaces. So it's those that's gonna be fun to see how they play out. But obviously, I'm talking about just like the title challenge. It's better for La Liga
More contenders and
to
just
have more contenders and it be a little bit more tight than just have one run away with the title. Barcelona versus Espanyol is uh,
clásico.
a clásico, Barcelona clásico. Um, you know, there was I forget the striker name, but man, like every clásico he would score on Barcelona, and then like Sergio Garcia, that's his name, the Sergio Garcia striker. Seemed like he would score on Barcelona every time there was a clásico, and then just go missing for the rest of the season. But yeah, the Espanyol team will be up for it because it's a clásico, and they always want to do well against Barcelona. I think it's gonna be a little tough for them because it's obviously gonna be at the Spotify Camp Nou, so Barcelona will have their their fans their fans behind them and supporting them. But yeah, Espanyol can. There've been a couple of times where Espanyol goes to Barcelona and kind of surprises them. So it'll be see how Barcelona comes back from this World Cup break, and especially from Espanyol that have had a full month of break and been able to work as a group. So see how that works for them. I'll go with you first, Junior. What do you think about this? What do you expect from this Barcelona against Espanyol and for the rest of the season as well?
I wonder how he's gonna play Sergio Busquets. I feel like because I think he has talked about how this is gonna be his last year. So I feel like now is the time to transition for me as a especially if I know he's not gonna be there for the long run. I mean, I feel like he's still gonna start this game because it's in Espanol. So I feel like they're gonna let Barcelona play and then kind of just wait. So to me, it's just now for me, it's kind of transition point, like trying to like get Frankie De Jong in there. Me, I think it would work best if Frankie De Jong is in that Sergio Busquets spot, and or even get Kessie a shot. He hasn't really gotten a shot in the position that he likes to play by himself. So I feel like now is the time to kind of like start doing that. But I feel like even then, I don't think Xavi kind of wants him in the team or is a Xavi type of player. Like unless guess he does what Xavi is asking of him, and that could always happen. But it just these older players or these players that play a certain way, they're already like molded in the way they play.
Yeah,
Like I say, like a 10, you're not gonna make him defend well. Like he's a 10, like he's just gonna create for you, and he's gonna you know make create chances and do these certain things that well-rounded players or like a well-rounded midfielder could do. So I feel like now is the time to kind of transition or kind of get like a better idea of how they're gonna play, especially where more players are gonna be fit or they're back from injury. I feel like we could kind of see finally what a Barcelona could look like, a full fit Barcelona.
Mm-hmm.
So that's what I'm interested in watching in this game.
Jordan, your thoughts about Barcelona?
What's the Clásico for this called? Is it like Clásico de Barcelona or some shit like that?
Yeah, el clásico de Catalunya.
Catalunya.
Mm.
Yeah, it's just Espanyol have a great striker, José Lu. Always manages to get on the score sheet. A very good striker. Their defense is kind of here and there, so you could see Barcelona score. The Kessie thing might be is an interesting thing because maybe during this break, maybe they could have practiced more. Maybe they could have get into more of like this is how I want to play without risking him playing him in the during league games. Maybe playing him during friendlies would have helped that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like trying to get him into playing his way. But this could also be like a situation like Yaya Toure where he couldn't play with Guardiola at Barcelona and he had to leave. It could be that type of situation where the player just needs to leave because he can't play that way. But he is a fantastic player. Maybe a youngster might rise up to play that position. Barcelona have a lot of youngsters. But yeah, I expect Barcelona to win. But like Calvin says, it's Espanyol, and maybe Sergio Garcia could score on them.
Comes back from
But I was
retirement
gonna
for that
mention,
game.
yeah, I was gonna mention, Espanyol just got a Mexican defender, Cesar Montes. So let's see if he plays this game. That'd be
Yeah.
interesting if he does.
Yeah.
I, I
Oh
like,
man, dude, you guys are screwed. That guy's really good.
yeah, that's
Just
why I was
kidding.
like, oh, that'll be interesting to see
Yeah. How
what
old is he?
he
He's like
can.
23, 24, right? Somewhere
Yeah, I
around
think
there.
he's 24. Yeah, something like that.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, he's
Down
gonna
about
turn
the same age.
25.
Mm.
Yeah. So
So
we'll see
that's
how he does.
exciting.
Yeah. All right. One of the last games that I left off, the Villarreal versus Valencia game. Obviously these teams that are fighting for that third, fourth place up there, trying to get that European positions. Um, Villarreal just have a manager swap, so manager change. So we'll see how that affects this team on the long run. Obviously they were playing really good football under Unai Emery, and Valencia team that's been really. I love Gattuso's teams. I fucking love them, dude. So I love what he's been doing with Valencia.
Whoa, dude.
I love the I love the energy and what he brings to that team, and so we'll see what he's able to do for the rest of the team with a break, with a working with this group. Um, I'll start off with you, Junior first. Would you expect for
Well,
this?
talking about Gattuso, he was talking about, I think I'm Rabat, and he was like, "Oh, those are the type of players that I was," and it's good to see that those players still exist. Something like that. I think he was talking about. So that'd be interesting if he actually joins his team. I could see, him joining, especially with the rumors of Yunus Musa maybe being on the move.
Yeah,
So if he does get players like that, another type of defensive type of coach, just let them, if they're gonna be defensive, let them,
yeah,
like let them die with their ideas and actually give them what they need if that's what the way they want them to play. If it doesn't work, that's why you could fire coaches. I mean, it's not like the first time that they fired them, you know, or the first time that they fired a coach. So it'll be interesting because these teams, me as a Barcelona fan, and me as a player that watches them, or a fan that watches them, like these games are always tough against the Villarreal and the Valencia. I feel like they don't give as much credit as they should. They always play really attractive football and attacking football. So I feel like the other, when like people are like, oh, the English league so good and this and that, and then the Spanish teams go over there and just mop the floor with these English teams, and this is the reason why, because even the mid tier in the Spanish league is still pretty good because they're so technically good, and they're the way, and they're not seen as technically as good, because there's the likes of Barcelona and the Real Madrid who are always just over dominate or have the possession more than the other teams,
Yeah.
or even like or Real Madrid that just scores more than the other team. So
Yeah.
like I feel like they don't get as much credit as they should, like especially with the Sociedad as well. They're doing so well.
Betis as well. Very good.
Yeah, these teams that they show attractive football, and they're always on the front foot of not being passive, and they always give the big teams the good game. So
Yeah.
it's gonna be a good match to see because they want to get off points of their direct rivals, quote unquote.
Right.
But I see Valencia winning.
Jordan,
Oh yeah.
your thoughts on this game and Valencia for the rest of
Well,
the season?
this is a great rivalry. It's called I might butcher the name, but it's called the Derby de la Comunidad, which is translated Derby of the Community, because these are two Valencian counties. This is a Valencian County Derby. We have the Derby versus Levante, but this is a more special Derby because these both teams have been up there fighting in the European Cups, even in the UEFA Cups in the past. The used to be the cup in the Europe, and even in the Champions League and Europa League, we've seen Villarreal recently win the Europa League. So like it's gonna be an exciting game. They both have a lot of great players. I kind of see that Valencia are kind of the underdogs because they haven't really won anything as of late. They were in the Copa del Rey final, but they didn't. They just were etched out in penalties. This Villarreal team has a lot of great players: Pau Torres, Danjuma, Chumani, Danny Parejo, who I wish could have stayed at Valencia.
So many.
Like they have. Oh no, it's the Nigerian right mid. What's his name?
Chuck Voicey.
Chukwueze. That's who I was like kind of confused. The shoe confused me, but they have a lot of great players. Mario Gaspar, I think, is the right back. They have a good goalie in Rulli. I don't know if he'll be returning from celebrating winning the World Cup.
Oh,
But
I think
Valencia have a very young squad. They're very young. I know you guys are like, oh, Gattuso very defensive. Gattuso kind of plays a very attacking football. He said in a press conference before, like, I know I played a very a kind of a tough style of football, but I want this team to play an amazing style of football where do passing back and forth because I see this team has the potential to be very attacking and play beautiful football because there's nothing better than playing a beautiful style of football on the attack. Defensively, we have Hugo Guillamon, who got called up but didn't really play. We have Yunus Musa, who a fantastic center mid who he could basically play every position on the right. We got Correa, and it's just a very young team.
And what's the
Um,
goalkeeper as well? The Georgian goalkeeper, very good as well.
Mamadashvili,
Yeah.
another Georgian goalkeeper, doing really good, and other Georgian Caravadona at Napoli also doing very good. So maybe these coaches should look at Georgia when you're scouting for a player because they got some good boys. But very exciting for it. I always want to see Valencia win. Obviously, I'm a
Yeah.
big fan of Valencia. But I could see this being a tough matchup.
I thought
And
when you were gonna quote Gattuso, I thought you were gonna do that. Sometimes maybe good, sometimes maybe shit.
yeah, I didn't want to say that one because I don't know. It's a very young team, a lot of pieces. We have two lone players we have three lone players in the midfield: Samuel Lino, Moriba from our Red Bull Leipzig, and
And then obviously Cavani as well as in the attacking.
yeah, Cavani and Hugo Duro. We have Nico Gonzalez. A lot of good players, but a lot of young players. Hopefully, Cavani could start getting on the scoring sheet. But yeah, just very exciting to watch it, and I want to see them challenge for the Europa League. I feel like that could put us in the right step forward to possibly get more interest in players coming to it because it is a very historic club. They have a lot of great players in the past: Roberto Ayala, Mario Kempes, Pablo Aymar, all Argentinian. Franz Sol. Like we just had a lot of, especially Mestalla, but there might be that new stadium being built, so we don't know.
Yeah, and with that, I want to just talk a little bit about the transfers. Two transfers that are already been confirmed. Junior was kind of alluding to one of them, Fofana going to Chelsea, and the other one, Cody Gakpo, leaving to Liverpool. Um, a lot of because of his nationality, a lot of people are just easily like labeling the next Drogba, and just making that comparison. But
Yeah.
uh,
I want to
I
hear what Mourinho says.
yeah,
If he says the next Drogba, then
Well, we saw
I have
history
to believe
repeats
it.
itself with Argentina, so maybe it might be your next Drogba.
I'm hoping for it.
yeah, yeah. Obviously, a big Drogba fan himself, and wanted to move to Chelsea. That's the move that he wanted to do. So obviously he got his move, and it feels like he's gonna be a very good player. Any expectations of what you have from him, Junior?
Um, at least 15 goals. Uh, I mean, that's all I want from him. Goals. I would have to see what type of player he is, but hopefully he's because he's not that tall. He's a 5'9", so I think he's gonna be a little bit like a Julian Alvarez. Maybe he's good inside the small spaces. That's what I always like to
Well,
see
you
of
should
a
watch the
striker.
highlights first before saying that,
Yeah, I
because
know, but I mean,
what
just on size wise, like usually when players are smaller, they're good dribbling inside the box. You know,
Right, right.
taller, they're more poacher like style. Kind of just laying the ball down and just trying to make something out of it.
yeah.
Anything you want to add, Jordan?
No, I don't know
He's
anything
probably
about
gonna
the
score an
player.
Arsenal, honestly.
The only thing I know is that he played for the same thing as same team Haaland played for, and everybody was saying, "Oh, he actually has a better goal tally than Haaland," but he has 14 more games or 15 more games, so obviously you're gonna have a better goal tally if you have 50 more games than Haaland. But hopefully he does good because you want to see youngsters do good, especially when you get a big move.
Yeah.
I know,
And
but
yeah, and
Haaland's
I
a big
think
game.
Graham Potter is a very good coach of nurturing and letting their young talents, like, slowly build them into his team. I think he'll be well protected with that coaching staff. The next one I want to talk about is Cody Gakpo going to Liverpool, obviously tearing it up in the Eredivisie, and obviously doing very well in the World Cup. A lot of teams were interested, and Liverpool were the one to get him. My
You
bad.
crying, boy?
No, I'm just like I was trying to not like cough for a really long time, but it just got
Do you
me.
have any water? Drink some water, dude.
I know you crying, boy.
No, I'm fine. I'll start with you, Jordan. What'd you think of this move? Because I know Arsenal were also interested in him. So what do you got to
Were
say?
they?
Yeah, they were.
What
Um,
I saw was Manchester United was more interested, and I
yeah,
get that just because a Netherlands player, but he never really played with him, so I don't know why he would have wanted him.
because he
He
wanted
seems
him
like,
when he was in Ajax.
oh, that's probably why. But just another attacking option for Liverpool. Hopefully, keeps on his run of play with Eredivisie. I think he has like 14 assists or something like that. Like he's not just a goal scorer; he's also distributes the ball pretty well.
Yeah,
So it'll be fun to see him in the Premier League. But I
Well,
didn't really want him to join Arsenal.
well, it's a type of player that it's a Klopp type of player that scores and assists. Like you see in their top
and
three, they'll score and assist as well.
yeah, and he's very
You know,
versatile as well. So that's one of the things
yeah.
that teams will
I feel
really
like
use him. That
yeah,
he could play any of the top three positions comfortably.
yeah, and he could play him in the midfield. I feel like to me, I feel like that's where he's gonna put him first in the midfield.
Yeah,
And then if there's an injury, I feel like he'll get a shot up top.
Yeah.
I mean, ideally, you would want him start him up top where he could do more damage to you. But I feel like they need some help in the midfield.
Right.
Yeah, but like I was saying, like I don't. When people were saying Arsenal were interested, I didn't really see if the fit. I think we should have go for other players. I think he's more of a left winger than a striker, so that's probably where he's gonna play him to try to get Darwin Nunes some assists because he's been struggling. So it might be him on the left, Darwin Nunes as a striker, and then Salah as a right winger, and maybe sub in Luis Diaz
Yeah, because you also have
and Firmino
You
for
also
that.
have Diego Jota and Roberto Firmino as well. So, um, in the long term, this Liverpool side have the depth and the attacking third to make it far in any of the three competitions because they got knocked out of the Carabao Cup by Manchester City. But
Yeah, yeah.
any of the three competitions that
But
that they choose to go into.
also I look at those names and they don't necessarily strike fear in me, like the Luis Diaz and the Roberto
Oh,
Firmino. I just feel like if they're just names, or I'm like the ones that was informed was Diego Jota, and then like he kind of showed what he was, and then that was it. Like I don't see much from him. Like his skill set, like it's very just one dimensional, two dimensional, whatever you want to call it. Like it's very set. I feel like Cody Gakpo is like to me like starting like he comes in and he's starting for me for sure.
Interesting.
I mean that's especially why they got him. That's the only reason why you would go into the transfer season and the to me if you go for a player right now is that I'm gonna start him. Like if it's during the summer, it's like, oh, let me see what I can do with this player. But if you're going in for in the winter transfer, it's like I need this player to win,
Yeah. Yeah.
and I feel like Manchester United needed him more than Liverpool.
Yeah. Yeah. Obviously. Finally, I think he's traveling to England this week to get his medical and then signing his final paperwork, and then he'll be introduced. I don't know if he'll be ready to play the next Liverpool game, but he'll definitely be in
He'll be in the
contention.
plan.
All right, that's the end of our episode. Junior, do you want to have anything to say?
Nothing. Just looking for what kind of transfer will happen because I want to
Yeah,
see where Enzo Fernandez ends up. I feel like they will move him. I feel like they want to bank in on how much he's worth right now. I feel like if they wait for him to, gamble if he still keeps that run of good season, he could be worth more or the same. But I feel like they'll just kind of try like bank in on him right now
yeah,
instead of, you know,
yeah.
trying to see if they could keep him.
yeah. Jordan, anything you want to add?
Well, the Enzo Fernandez thing being interested, Chelsea being interested in him, I feel like that happened because of Nkunku getting hurt. So I think you kind of need another center mid. So I think that's why they're trying to go for him. But I think the price tag is too much for him. I would kind of wait it out. I would try to see if maybe the summer would be a better time to get him, especially because Chelsea did just win. So maybe they could held off with buying him because it might be too much money. It might be another Darwin Nunes situation where there's too much money. But he is a good player. Hopefully he gets a club, gets a transfer. But the other thing I'm looking forward to is the Serie A in the next year.
Yeah, obviously, the Serie A hasn't resumed yet. I think that'll be after the New Year's, the holidays. That's when they will start. But yeah, exciting to see it. Obviously, excuse me, a tight race as well with uh, Napoli, Juventus, Inter Milan, AC Milan still up there fighting for those spaces. So interesting to see how this Serie A team will come back. All right, well, thank you guys for watching.
And if you watch this far, you must be a real dummy.
You're so dumb. Uh, Thank you guys for watching. Make sure to like and subscribe. Hit the bell notification so you get notified of when we upload a new episodes. With the start of the league, we'll start with the Premier League, La Liga, and the Serie A. We'll probably be doing maybe even 2 to 3 episodes a week. So make sure to hit the bell so you get notified of our videos and keep up to date with us. Um, from Jordan Jr. and I, thanks for watching and goodbye.